right. How's everybody doing? Welp, I know today's not the most amazing day, given what's going on. I understand things have been a little rough this morning. I just finished my live stream with Tom. You guys can check that out. That was our raw reaction to earnings as soon as it came out. Yeah, things are the stock price is a little bit down for Palantir. We're going to talk about it, though. We're going to talk about it. Let's see what's in the chat. Palantir long, turn it off, don't even watch. Down $19 now, so what number will you start averaging down? I'm thinking of getting it already. Circuit breaker, already see it. Morning emit, I deleted all my trading apps this morning. That's probably what you want to do today. Let's open up Webull and let's take a look. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos later today about my reactions to earnings. Palantir down 20% today. Oh my, the carnage. The absolute carnage. And it's not just Palantir, it's SPY. For anyone who's in Bitcoin, it's freaking Bitcoin. Shopify is getting destroyed right now. Robinhood's getting destroyed. Spotify, Google also getting massively hit. Enphase getting hit. But today we got to talk about Palantir, because Palantir is the one that we got to talk about. Now, I'm going to do more in-depth videos actually explaining kind of what's going on with Palantir and analyzing the earnings. But obviously, it's rough, right? It's not that it's not rough. But we're going to be able to talk about it. Okay, so Palantir is down 20%, $7.54. To be honest, I'm probably going to buy $1,000 worth of it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it right now, maybe in a little bit while, but I'll probably buy $1,000 worth of it. If you do have a higher average up in the 20s, this is like a truly perfect opportunity to lower the average. Now, I know no one wants to hear that today. To just look, as you can see from this chart, no one wants to hear buy the dip. But this is kind of the life of an investor, especially in these times, right? So I started buying Palantir around here, 29. Started buying a lot more 23. Started buying a lot, 11 to 12, 13, almost $13,000 worth. And now we're even lower. I guess the key thing I want to say before we get into the earnings is that it's really important to recognize that this is just the environment we're in from a macro perspective. And I think if we don't acknowledge that, then numbers and things are going to look much more skewed than they really are. Like, it's really important if you're investing in this company, any company, to acknowledge how bad things are. Open Door crushed earnings by 500%, and they're still down. Like, does that make sense for it to be crushed by 500% for them to be down? Probably not. But at the end of the day, this is how the market is reacting. This is how the market is engaging with these stocks. So let's go through some of the earnings. Again, a lot more videos will be coming out today giving my thoughts, but let's talk a little bit about this. So let's go through it. Here are the sort of highlights. Revenue grew 31% year over year. Phenomenal. That's not an easy thing to do. Comms rev, commercial rev, 54% year over year, accelerating for the 5th quarter in a row. That's also pretty amazing. 136% year on year for commercial revenue in the United States. And customer count grew 40 in Q1 2022, or 86% year over year. So if you look at those highlights in and of themselves, right, like top line, if you ask yourself, is this a bad earnings? Is a company growing 31% year over year, 54% year over year in the US, 136% 136% US commercial, 54% international commercial, and then getting 40 new customers, which is an 86% increase, a bad earnings? I would say no. I mean, like, just straight up, like, no, that's not a bad earnings. However, when you've got interest rates going up, inflation not going down, and asset valuations being compressed as a result of that, then it's not a Michael Jordan quarter. Like, it's a quarter where they did well, but they didn't do excellent. And this in and of itself, you could argue, is excellent, but it's not like excellent, which is going to result in the stock price going down. And that's just how it is. Now, this is a big thing. I think a lot of people are ignoring this. GAAP operating margins increased to 9%. They were, which means they were down at 9%. So they're not making a profit, right? They are losing money. However, they're losing much more less money. Meaning in 33% in Q1 2021, they were losing 30 cents on every dollar. Now they're losing 9 cents on every dollar. Last quarter, they were losing 14 cents. Now they're losing. So, and the adjusted operating margin is 26%, meaning if you took out stock-based comp, they're actually profitable by 26%, which is phenomenal, right? Which is good. So if we keep seeing GAAP operating margin decrease, in this case increase, then they're going to be profitable either by the end of this year or by the year coming up. Someone says, admit I'm scared. Hold me, bro. We'll get through it. Hey, Mikko Granger, please react to Sasha's reaction on the slide. Really realistic, concerning points in my opinion. Which slide? Let me know which one all around the metaverse that you're talking about. So at the point where they're getting more profitable, I think that's a good thing. Now let's see over quarter 2, quarter 3 if they can make this adjusted operating this GAAP margin increase even further, right, to 7%, 6%, and eventually by 2023 they actually make a profit. That would be awesome. They got a lot of stuff here. When it has to work, there's only Palantir. So they combated the rise of the ISIS external operations, helped to identify $200 billion of Russian money laundering, powering public safety power shutoff programs to mitigate wildfire risks, U.S. vaccine programs, adjusted FAA minimizing air travel. So the bunch of overall macro stuff they did. Ukraine, right? Delivering our capabilities to support Ukraine. Every product and capability has been employed by our customers to support mission outcomes for Ukraine and across Poland, Lithuania, and other nations to power refugee relief. All of these ideas, Edge AI, Foundry, Meta Constellation, they've been used in the geopolitical situations that exist. Alex Karp will react to his earnings call in a bit. He basically said that, look, the world and the threat of nuclear war in the world is higher than it's ever been, and people are not assuming it is. People are underestimating it, and as a result of people underestimating it, they're not sort of catching how bad things actually are, and Palantir is there to be able to solve these things, right? Are you going to start drinking? I don't drink, so no, I'm not going to start drinking. And I'm also I'm not that, I'm down money. I think I lost 5,000 today on Palantir, down 20% or whatever, and it's money I can afford to lose, which is why I'm not stressing it. But also, it's money that's if you bought Amazon in 2000, you were down 85% by 2002 or 2001. Amazon's done well, right? Now, do you believe you have the next Amazon? If you believe that, then you sleep like a baby. If you don't, then yeah, you sell. I personally really don't have any conviction issues. Gotham Foundry Apollo. They talked a lot about Apollo. It's going to be increasing the TAM massively. I've done some videos on Apollo. If you don't know what it is, essentially it is the infrastructure. CodeStrap just on our weekly podcast, he just explained it more in depth, that allows companies to distribute software to the client themselves, which just makes things a lot more efficient and more effective. And they think Apollo is going to be implemented in many, many, many companies going forward, increasing their potential to grow and scale. I am holding but not buying more yet. Yeah, same thing here. Let's look at the stock price. Wow, look at this, 739, down 22%. Let's tweet that. Should we tweet that? We should tweet that. Palantir drops. Palantir down 22%. Palantir down to 739. Boom. Oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Well, this guy just bought some more shares. Cameron. He bought some more shares. So people are loading up. People are loading up. Look at this. Another person loading up. How much did he buy? 20,000 shares. Shout out to Mike Karp Jr. on Twitter. Sheesh. Oh, my. And then you have Elon Musk saying chocolate milk is insanely good. Just had some. It's tweets like this during Palantir earnings that remind you how important happiness, how important the simple things are. Yes. All right. So let's go back to the presentation. So we saw that, right? A bunch of new products, Apollo enabling SaaS company. Again, I'm going to do a big, I don't want to go through everything. I'm going to do a lot of videos going through this stuff because I think it'll be able to go more in depth. But core numbers, 37 net new commercial clients, up 207%. That's awesome. Let me go just to the financials, actually. 30% U.S. governmental growth. That's great. Net dollar retention 124. Now, this is down. Net dollar retention last year was 131. However, that was for the full year. This is for the quarter. So if they continue 124-ish for the rest of the year, and they increase it a little bit, they'll have the same net dollar retention, which is really important because that means they're getting more money out of their clients. They're having less churn. U.S. commercial revenue grew 136% year over year, our 5th straight quarter of accelerating growth. That's amazing, right? Their ability to get more revenue by 136% growth. 133 million last year, 205 million this year. That's not bad. Our total customer count grew 86% year over year. We added 40 net new customers in Q1 2022, with total customers up 17% quarter over quarter. Average revenue for top 24 customers. Look at this, $45 million for the average revenue for their top 20 customers. Now this one is also important. We ended Q1 2022 with $3.5 billion in total remaining deal value, up 26% year over year, which means they still have $3.5 billion they have to collect, which will be collected over the course of the next couple of years. Remaining performance obligations grew 86% year over year to $1.2 billion. Adjusted gross margin stable at 80%. So they've been able to keep that money stable, which is pretty nice. And that's not too bad. Quarantine Quartet just woke up, down 22%. What the F? What the F? Yeah. That's what it is. Circuit breaker. Where's the damn stoppage? I don't know. I mean, we have to see a lot of volume for a circuit breaker to happen as well. Emotional buying the dip is hilarious. Under 10, bro. Why aren't you buying? I just got a DM. I'm still a fan of you in Palantir, but it's going to $5 and probably below. It's a long-term hold. Yeah, it is a long-term hold. I mean, again, like, I don't even know how to, what you guys, like, what's the reaction? Like, when the entire stock market, like, here's the other thing. If you're a YouTuber trying to make it on YouTube as a financial stocks person and you don't make it through a bear market, you're not going to survive, meaning, like, you're not supposed to be there when the stock is going up. You're supposed to be there when the stock is going up or down. You're supposed to be there with the market cycles. And I think it's incredibly important to be able to just deal with these situations that are happening and talk about the actual situation versus just be like, oh my God, my stock is down. It's like, okay, the whole market's down. Like, this would be a much different scenario, guys, if Palantir was down and the rest of the market was up. That's not what's happening. The entire market is getting crushed. Like, let's look at the watch list right here. I mean, look at this. There's one green. It's Tuttle Capital. That's the one green I see. And that's freaking Short Arc, S-Arc. They're the ones who are green. Man, this is the move, right? Buying Short Arc at 29 in November, you'd have doubled your money. You would get 100% return by now. Tesla's down 840, Palantir 750. All right, let's keep going through the earnings. So this is the hard part about guidance. I think this is the part that Sasha was really mad about. We are guiding into a base case of $470 million Q2 revenue. That's only a 5% increase. That's not a lot. We expect second quarter adjusted operating margins of 20%. That's lower than 26% that they got this year. So this is where, now notice, so this is the part where people are like, I think this is where the market's really upset, where it's like you're guiding for something to be a lot lower. Now, they said there's a wide range of potential upside above our base case, including those driven by our role in responding to geopolitical events. That's the Russia-Ukraine stuff. That's more than likely already baked in. They have those deals. They just weren't able to show it in Q1. So they're likely going to be showing it in Q2. Now, we expect the full year adjusted operating margin of 27%. If they can get that to be 30%, that would be phenomenal. Their growth is still 30% for this year and the next 3 years. So they're still saying, hey, long-term, we're going to be able to grow 30% this year and the next 3 years. If they can get the operating margins up to around 30% in GAAP profitability in the next 2-3 quarters, then we're looking at something where the market, as long as the macro changes, is a little bit more receptive to as well. The market was willing to pay $30 for this stock a year ago. I know this, or not even a year ago, like 8 months ago. I know things have changed, but the growth that they have and that they're going to be able to grow into over the next couple quarters, along with the macro economy changing, which might not happen for the next year and a half, to be honest. We don't know when inflation is going to go down. That's going to determine a lot of stuff that's happening. Tom Nash is in the chat. Amit, Circuit Breaker, Kukuracha, ha 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 ha. Code Strap, they have seriously blown the execution to date. There's no reason this company shouldn't be growing at 2 or 3 times this rate. This is going to hurt them. I agree. I do think that the 2021 was a unique year in terms of the pandemic and in terms of the lack of negotiation for governmental budgets, which is something to think about. Now, granted, even with that, the commercial side is where they need to be growing massively. But I do think we have 3 more quarters this year. Let's see if they can execute. If they can't execute at a strong level this year, then 2023 is going to be a little bit more rough, especially if the macro is not convincing them. But I mean, I agree with CodeStrap. Like, they acknowledged last earnings that they messed up on being Snowflake. Like, they should have been what Snowflake is, this out-of-the-box service that thousands of companies, like, they should have been that. They acknowledged that they were too focused on product, not enough sales. They were messing up too much in terms of the creation of the product versus the distribution of it. And they acknowledged, like, that cost them about, 7 years of building up their market cap to the point where they could have been an $80, $100 billion market cap. Now is the time for them to not make that same mistake again. But they've got to execute. NASDAQ below 12,000. Here it is. NASDAQ below 12,000. It has happened. It has indeed happened. They need to course correct ASAP, starting to get some signs of that. They need a freemium tier and get developers on board or be waving to wait. Yeah, CodeStrap has a good point here. Now, they do have this new pay-as-you-go model. So right here, they started this in Japan. I think they're going to do this in more places. You guys can see this. This is their back end. Look, they're literally telling developers or how much it's costing them, right? GPU, interactive compute, CPU compute, what drove ontology costs. So they've built out an infrastructure where people can pay by usage-based pricing, which means they don't have to lock you down to a $4 million deal. You can pay per month, pay as much as you use, which should be accelerating more adoption across people that are just trying to buy Palantir and not worry about setting into a long-term deal. But ultimately, we're going to have to see. Tom says, Amit, you are legit. Thank you. I appreciate it. If Amit loses his glasses, he would look like a caveman. Tom Nash is a legit as well. It's just sad that this stock is tanking. I just bought more Palantir. Yeah. Look, I mean, this is what Tom was saying on the chat as well. It's just like, if you're in it for the long term, you're in it for the long term. Now, what he was saying as well is that if you're older, so right now, if you're in the chat and if you're 38, 40, 50, I'm 24. So granted, I don't know what it feels like to have a mortgage and lose half your money, right? I don't know what it feels like to have a family, a wife, and a kids and lose half your money in the stock market. So I can't relate on that perspective. What I can say is that if the money that's in the market is not something you desperately need, if it was going to be there for the next 5-10 years, if you weren't going to use that to pay, if you weren't going to sell stocks to pay your mortgage, then on some level, the universal thing binding all of us as shareholders of Palantir or of any company is that it's a long-term hold, right? So yes, I can't relate because I don't have a family where I see my portfolio disseminate and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is my family's livelihood, which sucks because you're thinking about the future. How are you going to, take care of your family? And that is a serious concern. But if you weren't going to use this money to take care of them anyway, meaning that was disposable income, then the only thing you can do is go long or DCA or sell out the position. And that comes down to a level of conviction. And this is the game of picking stocks at the end of the day. If you really wanted something that safe, you would have bought the S&P index because it's going to come back over time. Do you know that Palantir is going to come back over time? You don't fully know it as much as you know the S&P. It's a question of how much do you believe. And that's the game of picking individual stocks. So I think that's the thing to me. If you pick an individual stock, then that individual stock that you pick, you've obviously picked a stock for no one would be investing in the stock market because they're picking or picking individual stocks because they think they're an excellent stock picker, right? You would just buy the S&P. You're picking individual stocks if you want a outsized return on your money. People bought Tesla, not the S&P, not NASDAQ in 2018, 2019 because they saw an outsized return even when Tesla was falling to $170 pre-split May 2019. I remember because I bought a couple Tesla shares then, right? So it's like if you're going to pick stocks, then you've got to be happy with picking the stock you pick and truly take a long-term outlook. Now, if you have a Netflix like Bill Ackman's situation where he picks a stock and he immediately recognizes that there is a course correct and he has to change, then that's a different situation. I do not think this quarter was a course correct. Let me be very clear about that. This is not a quarter where you're like, oh, I have to take my loss. Yes, now, would it make sense to sell at like $8 because the stock price is going even lower? Like theoretically, yes, because you have some delta that you save. But in terms of a macro, like when it comes to saving the money, like a Bill Ackman thing where he takes a $400 million loss and he's like, all right, let me cut it. That's because he doesn't believe Netflix is going to grow. He doesn't think Netflix has potential anymore. He misread the situation. And Palantir is not Netflix. So that's my point. It's like, if you don't have that type of a situation where you feel like you misread the situation and you have conviction, then you stay. I mean, that's all you can do. Let's talk about Cathie. So Cathie sold out of Palantir. A lot of people are saying Cathie was correct. Let me just point out how correct Cathie you guys think she is. Coinbase is the $93, and Cathie was buying this thing at $300. Look, I'm not even here to dunk on her because who am I to dunk, right? All of us are buying stocks that are down. But to say that Cathie was correct for selling Palantir and buying the dip on Roku at 120 when Roku's at 92, I mean, it's not a question of which stock she sold to which stock she bought. Like, was she right for selling Palantir because it's lower? Yes. Does that mean the money she took and then put it into all the other growth stocks that are down just as much as Palantir, down 20, 30%? To me, it's a wash. It's the same thing. So the upside is the question here. Is Palantir, will Palantir have more upside than a Roku or than a Zoom? I mean, I think the answer is yes. For her, she disagrees, but that's ultimately her conviction. I just don't think anyone can be right or wrong in this situation, right? I've never said Cathie Wood is wrong for selling Palantir. I said in the long term, I believe that Palantir will survive, and that as a result of that, she would have mismanaged her capital, losing $400 million. In the short term, she's absolutely right because, like, of course the stocks were going to fall, right? I don't think anyone expected when Palantir's at $11 to be like, oh, we'll be at 20 in the next month. It's like, no, we're entering a bear market. We understand that. It's just a question of DCAing. But when she sold for the reasoning that she sold, that's where I disagreed. I was like, I don't have a problem with you buying and selling stuff. I just have a problem with you buying 7 million shares of a company in the first week of January and then selling everything in the last week of February, but you say you have a 5-year time horizon. That's the part where I'm like, I don't get it. But in terms of as an ETF, just selling stuff because you got to do stuff, like, I understand that. It's just the stuff she's buying is not doing anything better. So it's like, what exactly is going on here? My average on Coinbase is 390. Yeah, that's rough. We're down 40% since I was buying in the 12s. Right? Like in February, January, I bought $12,000 worth of Palantir, average at like $12, and we're down even more now, right? Just bought 200 shares of Palantir, too good to pass up. Yeah, man, it is what it is. Your major ends up, blah, blah, blah. Cathie just traded Peloton. I'm in it for the long term, no question, but there are thesis breakers, and getting Foundry to scale out is a major concern. Yeah, CodeStrap, I agree. There are some thesis breakers, and getting Foundry out to scale is the major concern. If they can get it to scale, it's important. It's just important to remember this is one quarter, everybody. This is one quarter, 2022. We just started. You know, we gotta give them time to execute. We gotta see. This is the game of picking stocks. We've got to see how they flow it out over time. That's all you can really do in this situation. Bitcoin, my goodness. Can we talk a little bit about Bitcoin? 32 grand. Let's look at the 5-day on Bitcoin. Let me zoom out. Where was Bitcoin? What was the 5-day? 5-day was 36,000. Now it's at 32. If you look at the 3-month, 48,000. So if you bought Bitcoin at 48,000, you are down $16,000. We talked about this today on Money Talks, and the idea was that this course correction was probably necessary for Bitcoin. A lot of stuff had to ultimately get corrected. The question is, do you buy the dip now on Bitcoin? Because if we get into the bull market, it's just a question of, do we think crypto gets back to 60,000, right? Do we think that happens? Because if that happens, you're looking at 100% upside from there. And maybe not. Just wait till next quarter when we hope we can hold over $5. Yeah. Oh, man. People are saying, so is your conviction, buy more, bro. Okay, I'm not going to show my conviction by buying more stock to, like, make people feel happy. That's not how investing, that's not how, like, I'm not that emotional. I've said this many, many times. I mean, I don't even have to justify it. You guys can watch my my old videos showing how much I bought Palantir. The reason I'm not buying right now is because I want to see how the market reacts. Do we get lower than 7? I mean, I kind of want to see that. And also, I've said this many, many times. I have a startup. I'm going full-time on my startup starting in June, which means I will lose my salary because I'm not taking an income from the money we're raising for that startup. By the way, if anyone's interested, amit@dailypalantir.com. You can email me. I can send you the pitch deck if anyone's interested in investing. We've raised about $200,000 so far, so I will give more details about that as we launch it publicly. But I'm not making an income from my from that money that we raise, and I'm losing my job, right? So I'm not having a salary because I'm going all in on my startup. Now you might be thinking, Amit, you're kind of crazy in this market to go all in on your startup when the market is down. We might have a recession, blah 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 blah. You're correct. But that's the nature of starting a startup and going after your dreams. So the caveat here is I've saved up enough money to not have to worry that much about an income, which means I have to be more responsible and not just put a lot of money into the stock market, especially if the market does not look like it's going to be going well over the next couple quarters. So I am thinking of buying about $1,000 more worth of it. I just don't feel like I need to do it right now, So that's my thing. I'm not telling anyone to buy the dip. I think it's a nice opportunity, but if you want to buy the dip, buy the dip. If you don't, then wait. Like, you don't need to buy the dip right now for no reason. New money talks just dropped. Boom, there it is. We did indeed talk. Look at my face right there. That was the face of a guy who knew we were going to talk about Palantir. I'm gonna listen to just the intro so we can hear what's going on here.
Welcome back to Money Talks, where Palantir and Bitcoin have tanked. So if you've got some dry powder, now may be as good of a time as ever to unload the bank. I'm your unofficial host, Amit, always trying to be legit, here with Justin O and Tom Nash, and today we are talking about asset valuations and how a lot of them have crashed.
That's it. You guys can go watch the full episode, but yeah. So that's my point, right? It's like I have a startup. I'm trying to do some big things in the world. I'm trying to build a company. I don't know if it's going to be worth more than Palantir one day. But I'm trying to be, Alex Karp did his thing in 2003 trying to start a startup. I'm trying to do my thing in 2022, start a startup. So I can't give all my money to Alex Karp. By the way, I do have 40-something thousand into this stock, and I'm down 50%. So, or more than 50%. So I think I don't think I need to prove my conviction at this point. Now, but the logical argument for any investor, whether you're 50 or 15, is you DCA when it gets that juicy and your conviction is that high. It's just in my circumstances, I really just don't have that much money to put into the market. But I'm probably going to buy $1,000 more just in a little bit. Just maybe not today. I want to see how the market reacts to this, because again, the way the Nasdaq's going, the way the SPYs are, like, there's no reason we can't go lower, it looks like. Now, inflation data we're getting on Wednesday, if that's better, and it's not expected to be better, it's expected to be, like, up. It's not expected to be that up, which will be, quote-unquote, better. That might tank the market a little bit more. Spotify just dropped below $100, down 5%. And on top of that, the Fed rate hikes. If we keep doing rate hikes, there's no reason why we can't go lower. Uber, look at this. Has anyone watching Super Pumped? It's like a documentary TV series on Uber. It's not that good, actually. The acting is really cringe. I'm not gonna lie. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt is there, and I love that guy, but the acting is really bad. Like, I'm not a fan of the acting. But Uber's at $25. Uber IPO'd at $42. Rough market. Tesla folks are down 827. The Tesla thing is interesting because, man, if things get crazy, could Tesla really get to the 500-600 levels again? I don't know. We will see. I have 2,100 something shares. That's how many shares I have. For anyone asking. That's also the reason, guys, I've been saying to not buy Bitcoin. I've been saying I haven't been buying Bitcoin every day for the market open for the past 3 weeks. People are like, you're buying Bitcoin? I'm like, no. Like, this is volatile. I know Palantir is volatile, dropped 20%, but Bitcoin's also volatile. The volatility of this is heightened because I don't really know the value that I'm getting for paying for Bitcoin. Now, you can say the digital gold, all that stuff. I'm not here to contest that. My point is just, like, if someone puts a gun to your head, you're gonna eat. You're gonna say that food has more value than Bitcoin because you can eat the food, right? That's sort of the metaphor I'm using here. It's like, I know at least in Palantir, they're providing a service to people that's valuable. Bitcoin, I don't really know what that service is. That's not saying it's not digital gold. That's not saying there's not a huge store of value, all that stuff. That's just saying for the volatility attached with that narrative, buying it is just hard. It's just, in this market, it's just hard. Especially where you don't know where the bottom is going to be. Shopify is rough, man. Shopify CEO yesterday went on a rant. Toby Luked. And essentially his rant was calling out all these analysts. Look at this. Is there a place where financial analysts track records are kept? People seem to pay attention to them, but they're being held accountable. Company XY outperform analyst expectations, just different framing for analysts fail to accurately predict. So he's basically mad. He's like, look, the macroeconomy sucks. All these analysts are shitting on my stock. And can we just now Tip Ranks is the place where that actually happens if you want to see where analysts go to rank stuff. But he's pretty annoyed, right? So he's obviously annoyed. Elon Musk, some crazy stuff happened with Elon. Elon provided Starlink to Ukraine, and Russia's version of NASA basically said, hey, Elon, we're going to kill you for doing this. And Elon basically said, look at this. This is what they said. Elon Musk thus is involved in supplying the fascist forces in Ukraine with military communication equipment. And for this, Elon, you'll be held accountable like an adult, no matter how much you'll play the fool. So this is what the Russia Space Agency sent to Elon Musk yesterday. And obviously, it's Russian propaganda, right? There's no fascist forces in Ukraine. So Elon said, if I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing you. Basically responding to this threat, essentially. Now, it's Russian state media propaganda, but still, it's rough. Let's see what the... you won't die before your day, Elon. Anyway, were a unique figure in this world. I'm only wondering one thing. As a genius, haven't you find out that there is a greater creator of this world yet? If you did, make sure you confess this before your last heartbeat. Bless you. Thank you for this blessing, but I'm okay going to hell if that is indeed my destination, since the vast majority of humans ever born will be there. Wow. I love this. Very philosophical by Elon Musk. So we have someone who's obviously very religious. Let's go to his profile. He's from Saudi Arabia. I don't know what he does. Can we translate this? Is there a translate? No. So we don't know what this person does. Obviously, he seems very religious. And he says, hey, you should confess that there is a supreme leader and bow down to him. And Elon says, I'm okay with going to hell. I know most humans suck, and most humans are probably going to go there. Wow. What a quote by Elon. What a quote. Elon needs some security. The same people that say Palantir won't see $5 are the ones that said Palantir won't see $10. Shake my head. Okay. I mean, yeah, Palantir could see $5. That could happen. Show us your portfolio. Guys, I've shown my portfolio many times. I can show it again. You guys just want to see the fear porn of my Robinhood Palantir portfolio? We can see it together. I'm not afraid of showing it. It's you get to a point where your skin is so thick that someone would ask for your number at a club. Okay, here it is. 1966 average, down 62%, 26,000 down 4,000 today, and there it is. For all of you that want to see, bask in the glory of it. That's what it is. I'm serious when I say like it doesn't affect me. Like I know it sounds like it really doesn't, bro. I'm just like, this is what it is, bro. This is what it is. Shout out to 367 people being here. I'm gonna have a lot more videos coming out in the future, sort of going into more Palantir in depth. Now, everyone should check out this website, dailypalantir.com, is my publication. A lot of earnings will be out. Earnings coverage. This is my website where I cover Palantir in depth. I'm going to have a lot of articles coming out over the next couple of days, really talking about this stuff, and we'll go more in depth about it. Let's go back to this business update. Let's see some of this other stuff that they have going on here. We are investing in our business to position the company and our customers to win. Our Q1 2022 adjusted operating income margin was $117 million, representing a margin of 26%. So they made $117 million off of the $440 million that they brought in revenue. Now, none of it's profit because of stock-based comp, but that's there. Also, I want to go through something. Stock-based comp went down. Hold on, Palantir IR. It went down, and it's important to understand why it went down. Or at least it's important to analyze that it did go down. Where are we at? So here we go. Stock-based comp. It's down 26%. It's down 26%. Where did I see it? Was it on this thing? Yeah, here it is. Look. So, look, stock-based compensation. It was $193 million in 2021 for the last quarter. Now it's $149 million. So that's great. That's down 26%. That's awesome. So they decreased stock-based compensation, which is phenomenal. The question is now if they're going to be able to keep this going even more further. And that's why we saw the gap go from the gap profitability go from -14 to -9%, because they decreased $50 million worth of stock-based comp, and they only diluted by like 4 million shares. That's what they said on the earnings call, which is like 0.04%. It's like really small number. And they haven't issued any new shares in 2022. So as a result of that, if we keep seeing stock-based compensation going down and down and down, with revenues growing and adjusted profit margins going up, now it's going to be hard for that because sales and marketing is going higher because they're hiring more people on sales. That is a winning formula to get profitable, and that profitability is going to be important for Palantir. But we've got to see if they can ultimately get there. That's what's important here. Hey, Amit, do you plan on buying covered calls for Palantir? No, not really. Again, I'm not planning to put in too much money into the market at all. Down 4,000 today. It's rough, man. If the stock isn't worth anything, then stock compensation doesn't work. Exactly, right? So that's the point. That's why they're decreasing stock. Like, your employees are not going to be motivated with getting stock if the stock isn't worth anything. So you have to grow. Like, that's what Karp said in the last one. Is like, we have to figure out how to build a company that's profitable, because otherwise the stock price won't go up. If the stock price won't go up, then we're not going to be valuable. Okay. If there's I'm trying to look for some of the comments in the chat. Yeah, things suck. Everyone's saying it's. Let's go to Twitter. Let's see how Twitter's doing. Twitter's probably in a rough spot right now. Figured today was a good day to share another client partner update. That's awesome stuff. Palantir revenue growth slowing to 25% year over year for Q2 is not good. How are they going to maintain 30% growth? Saw this as well. Keep in mind, guidance is $4 billion in 2025, which is actually less than 30% CAGR. It's a crap stock. Buy Upstart today. It's better. Oh, man. Diesel hit the all-time today. Gas is also increasing. The average gas is $4.32. I know people are feeling it. I'm feeling it in New Jersey. It's rough. Look at this. Sachin says he's going to double down. Sachin is already 101% in Palantir. He's doubling down. Oh, boy. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. How are you guys feeling in general? Let's have a talk for the last couple minutes, and then we'll be out here. How are you guys doing? Bought 500 shares, down 40K alone. Big boy numbers if you're down. Down. Bought at 741. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I know today's a tough day. I'm not going to undermine that today's not a tough day. It's just I really did expect this tough of a day to come, because it's not like it was going to be a simple day with what's going on with Palantir. It's just not. This is what it is. Opportunity. Yes, opportunity is what matters. It presents an issue going forward unless revenues seriously pick up. I agree. Revenues do have to definitely go up for that to happen. LOL, how happy if Palantir were down 15% today. Buying stocks now is like throwing money into a toilet. It depends on the stocks you buy. Holding cash is also not the best option. So it's a question of, like, if you buy certain stocks that are going to go up, then maybe it's not throwing money into a toilet. If not, then, then maybe it is. That is the important thing to kind of consider here. But it's rough, man. It is rough. I understand totally 100% that it is a bit rough. I understand that. Bought 400 shares today. I'm feeling good. Honestly, though, I want more money to buy the dip. Such in these nuts. Would rather be buying here than 20. Everyone is missing the dip. My average is under 10. Feeling great. Would feel worse if Palantir was up, because I keep trading. I keep buying us. Trading sideways is the best case scenario for me. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Let's go through some more numbers. Let's go to Webull. 742, down 21% today. So obviously it's a bit rough, even more so than usual. Amazon is hitting. Amazon is if it goes down some more percentage. Amazon's gonna be below 2,000, which is kind of wild. The question is the bottom as well. Like, where are we finding the bottom? Or are we going to find a bottom now? Or are we not going to find a bottom now? Let's go to CNBC. Did they talk about Palantir? They should be covering Palantir. They should know Palantir is a hot stock. Are they talking about Palantir? They're not talking about it. CNBC is not talking about it. Okay. All right. CNBC is not talking about it. Let's see. This is an opportunity to buy some. Oh, Alex. This guy's the CEO of Reddit. Let's hear what he's saying.
On tech investing, social media, and so much more. Alexis Ohanian, Reddit co-founder and 776 founder. Good morning to you. We got to talk about 100 things, and you're doing also some good work, which we should talk about as well. But let's start with what's happening here, and how do you see this? Do you see this as a shakeout? Do you see this continuing to falter? What's going on inside the Ohanian family office right now?
Look, I am very grateful to be doing early stage venture investing these days because there's really never a bad time, and you could even argue that tougher times help found amazing companies. So in that regard, it's business as usual. As I look out, it is clear multiples had gotten pretty darn high on tech companies. They're going to bear the brunt of this. But when I'm thinking out, and as I usually do in 10-year timelines, nothing about this has me thinking any differently about the fact that technology is going to continue to be a bigger and bigger part of every single industry. The fundamentals of technology are not going anywhere. The fundamentals of what software can do are not going anywhere. The fundamentals of the internet, et cetera, et cetera. So, I still believe in business cycles. I still think that there is a very long and bright future ahead, especially when it comes to technology. But, we're in the midst of something right now that is the market reacting, and markets are going to do what markets are going to do.
And have you found, though, that the private market, do you think that your colleagues in the private market have actually marked down their assets to match what's happening in the public market? And also, are you seeing opportunities that you think where you say, this is cheap, even in the public market, maybe I should actually do this?
It is absolutely starting to happen on the private side, certainly on the later stage. Folks are reevaluating. I think at the end of the day, it's a good little dose of sobriety for everyone, for founders, for CEOs. We've had a tremendous bull run. I don't know, someone smarter than me could talk about how unprecedented it's been in the public markets. And so I do think a little bit of sobriety is a good thing. And for CEOs, we've been coaching for at least the last 6 months now. We've been encouraging them to really obsess over burn, really focus on getting to cash in and profitability. All the sort of stuff that you say when you know that folks are looking a lot harder and more critically. But I don't spend a ton of time on public stocks. Every now and then I'll go in and mess around on my phone and buy a few things here and there. But it's not something I spend much time in. But do I think there is opportunity to get some deals? For sure. And again, I think that the North Star for me is 10 years out, what are the businesses that are still going to be providing value and infrastructure and just...
I think that's the key thing, guys. What are the businesses that are going to be providing value and infrastructure over the next 10 years? And I think Palantir is one of those companies at the end of the day. And if Palantir is one of those companies, then that's what we're getting at here. That's what we are getting at down here. Amid, how much are you down? I'm down 26K. Palantir long, shout out to him, just bought another 1,800 shares. Bro, my guy, he's just addicted to buying this bad boy. Ooh, baby. The thing is, if you're also buying it down here, let's say Palantir goes up to $20, that's more than 100% increase. So if your average does get lower, you're gonna make back your money at least a decent amount, even if your average is not $7. So not too crazy. Shout out to 389 people in the chat. I don't say this that often. I think some of you guys are probably subscribers. Maybe some of you are new to the channel. We're family here. We're a family. I'm saying that because I mean it. Look at this. I started doing YouTube stuff back in November, okay? I was making videos on Palantir back in November because I started getting obsessed with this company. That was my first video. I dropped 25,000 to Palantir. Ever since then, I would say 95% of the videos have been oriented around Palantir. I think and the reason I think I developed a name in this community is because I was one of the people that was bringing on geophysicists to talk, cybersecurity specialists. We got an investment banker to do a full hour-long, 30-minute analysis of Palantir. Where's that video? Right here, 30,000 views. This one still gets views to this day. This was a huge, huge analysis of Palantir. I developed a name in this community primarily because I think the value and analysis I was bringing was trying to understand this incredibly complex company in a much more simpler way. Now, that doesn't mean that just because of my analysis, the stock price is not going to go down. So many people are like, make a new video, pump up the stock. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't control 2 billion shares outstanding. My silly videos do not do much. But I think what my videos do, going back to my point about us being a family, is it gives people a way to have a community, which is all you're looking for on the internet. You're looking for a community at the end of the day. All of us on Twitter, on YouTube, we're looking for a community to be able to deal with some of the harder days. And in this type of market, when things are rough, man, like having a community that's there with you, just being in a group chat, being in a Discord, being in a place where you can talk to people, it helps. Like, because everyone's down, no one wants to lose money, and literally laughing about it and making fun of it, it helps. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's all. It helps. Can you please get a job at Palantir so we can get a real CEO in the company, baby? Alex Karp is a phenomenal CEO. Being a public CEO would be kind of rough. But, you know, like, to me, having that community is so incredibly important and valuable. And I think if you're watching this right now with the other 399 people that are here, it's because it's important to have a community. It's important to talk to other people. It's important to be able to deal with the fact that your stocks are not doing well and you have to sit with that, right? You can't go anywhere. And I think, at some level, I don't want to sound cheesy, but that is kind of like a family. And it's a digital family in some respects. And so my point here is that it's okay to be down if you're able to make fun of yourself and laugh and just be like, yo, things suck right now, but that's okay. Like, I'm alive, right? Like my health is fine. Like, you got to start reminding yourself of these things, along with the fact that if you don't need the money, you don't need to be like, if you're actually thinking Palantir will be $7 5 years from now, then sell. Then there's no point to hold it. But if you are gonna hold this stock for the next 5 years anyway, I know the short term is what we do on the day-to-day as YouTubers and like as stock analysts or whatever, but it's not something to completely dismiss the entire thesis for why you're holding. That's just the fact at the end of the day. When the bull market happens, which it will happen again, this happens in peaks and cycles, stocks will go up and the best stocks that are providing the best value will actually get rewarded by the market. But that's not right now. That's just not happening right now. And because it's not right now, and because we're all down a bunch of money, we all have to be able to sulk together and ultimately laugh and make fun of how stupid we are for buying this shit at $22. Because we didn't seem stupid at 22. At 22, I was like, damn, I'm getting a deal. Well, it wasn't the deal of a lifetime, let's just say. It wasn't the best deal. It was a deal, but it wasn't the craziest deal. Tesla is $17 from being at 700. It's at 800 right now. It's rough. No wonder you still live at home, Amit. You have no choice with your loss on Palantir. Actually, the reason I live at home is because why would I spend $2,500 for rent when I live with my parents? Like, you know, Tom told me today, I'm going to get some really mean comments. We were doing money talks, and right before we started the show, he was basically like, today is the day you turn into a man. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, today is the day you become a YouTuber, because you don't become a YouTuber, whether it's entertainment, whether it's stocks, whether it's makeup. There's like every niche you could think of on the internet, there is an event that happens within their niche. And that's when you feel the brunt of the real internet. So for example, Casey Neistat, he's a famous vlogger. I don't know if you guys know, he's like 12 million subscribers. He blew up. He doesn't post too much anymore, but I think he made some video basically saying Trump was a megalomaniac, right? And people loved Casey. I mean, like 99% of the comments on Casey were, we love this guy. He made that video in 2016. Oh boy, did he feel the internet come at him, and things were never the same. And it's not just politics. I mean, he had some other videos where, like, you know, he's just like, you know, he just says maybe something that's a little bit different, or he starts something and or he moved from New York to California and people hated that because they loved New York City, right? His vlogs were about New York City. It was entertaining. That ended up not going that well for him, just in terms of the hate comments that he was getting. So I think understanding that hate that comes, it's important to like feel that at its core, because when you feel that, that's when you know you've ultimately arrived as a online figure. And you've got to be able to deal with it. So when someone says, "Oh, Amit, you're not investing money, you're not buying, you're not renting out a part, you're still living with your parents because you're down on Palantir," it's like, no, man. Like, I could have $200,000 in the bank. Like, I need to help my mom with groceries. Like, I'm only 24. My mom, she doesn't have the best knees in the world. When she takes home groceries, do I want to be living in some apartment by myself, watching Netflix in my room, paying $2,500 for rent, while my mom has to take all the groceries out of her car? No, I'm going to help her with the fucking groceries. Like, so it's not about not having money to move out. It's about first being logical. But my point is, those types of comments are what you got to get used to getting, because this is where it incomes here. This is where it incomes. Amit, you owe me $5K. Oh, man. Amit, how's the startup progressing? Saw some YouTubers referencing it. Yeah, I'm excited for the startup. By the way, that's a good segue. 362 people in the chat. Look, I'm going to do a little sales pitch for myself. I have a startup. We have raised about $230,000. We're raising $500,000 in our pre-seed round. Startup is launching around June. Product is already done. We don't need to hire any engineers. We're just raising money for marketing and distribution. If you're interested at all, if you have any excess capital, I know it's hard to ask for money right now, but we've still been able to raise money. I just closed an investor from Singapore who's probably watching this today. Shout out to you, bro. I closed the deal for $25,000 from that investor from Singapore, who's the same age as me and who built this really cool company in Singapore. I'm not going to say what it is, but he's doing some dope stuff at a young age. And you know, there's people around the world that still have money. I know the stock market is down, and yes, you could buy stocks like Palantir, but you could also bet on companies in the private market that could potentially deliver an outsized return. Granted, startups are incredibly risky, and there's a good chance you can lose a lot of money as well, right? So if you're interested, Amit at dailypalantir.com. Even if you just want to see the pitch deck, see what the idea is, let me know. I think I will be launching the crowdfund publicly in June, but as of now, it's being given to people who are investing privately. There are some big angel investors that are investing. One of the guys, his name starts with a T. I'm not going to say his name, but you guys might know who he is. So yeah. And again, it's kind of like this. So if anyone's interested, Amit at dailypalantir.com. Again, people may be also thinking like, are you kind of crazy to start a startup in this environment? I think it's actually crazy to not do it in this environment. We use AWS for our backend, and I'll just show it on Webull so you guys can see the price while I'm talking. Our backend, we have to pay like $200 a month for AWS servers. I mean, it's actually crazy, right? So like, people are like, you're crazy for starting a startup right now. Things are super risky, the economy. In reality, the time to start a technology startup and the costs associated with it are so low in terms of what it takes to actually start a startup. The ability to raise capital, it's tough. I'm not to say, like, you've got to be a damn good communicator to get people to believe in your vision and your ideas, especially in this type of economy. Not everyone's going to believe in you, but it's possible because you've got Twitter and YouTube, you've got the internet. And third of all, innovation is important. Like, especially in the content space, because my startup is in the content space and in the creator economy space. Let me say something very clear. Shout out to Adam Bergen. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He's investing $5,000 as well. Thank you, Adam, for being here. Jimmy, you're in the chat. Jimmy, I was just talking about you. Shout out to Jimmy being in the chat as well. In the creator space right now, it is incredibly important to recognize that if you build a platform that gets people to be able to post content and get their content discovered, you've got something that can win. So bringing it back to Palantir, Palantir's like AI and data analytics is exploding right now. They're like, okay, forget the market. The market's not going to respect us right now. But this industry is growing at such a big rate, and we have such a meaningful opportunity to be the industry leaders. In their presentation, they said they want to be the government's first software prime. So the government has 5 hardware primes. These are prime contractors that if the government, I think Lockheed Martin might be one of them, if the government needs a drone or a robot or like a helicopter or something, they go to those 5 hardware contractor primes. Palantir is trying to be the first software prime for the government. And if you become the first software prime for the government, you essentially you are the grounding infrastructure for how the government deploys software at scale and how they build new software products, which is something that they showed in their investor report that I'm going to bring up in a second. So which is the Warp Core thing. Let's look at this real quick right here. What they're doing here, Warp Core, they are the foundational element for Warp Core, which is the government's, look at this, our ambition becoming the 6th prime, the first software prime. Right now the government has 5 primes. And Space Force is delivering new operational capabilities to America's Space Guardians, all built on Warp Core powered by Foundry. So when the government launches a new program or a new piece of software, the quality of that revenue is so important, it's so sticky. And if Palantir is the prime to do that, they're able to get the benefit from that. Going back to my startup, if you are able to build a platform that millions and millions of people can use in the creator economy space, based on the thesis that millions of people want to get discovered for their voices and for their content, that's a platform that can be pretty big. And that is the platform that I'm creating, which is why, going back to my point, is it a good time to start a startup or not? I think yes, because if you're young enough, and if you have a vision and you still live with your parents and you don't have all these obligations and you have the energy because you're motivated enough to actually go get something done in the world, and you have the communication skills to get the world to believe in your ideas, which I think I have, and you have a product that potentially the entire world can use, right? Like it's really infinite in scale, then I think it's the right time to go for it. There's never a right time to start a startup. There's only the time where you jump into it and you go and you build it. It's the same thing forget a startup. It's the same thing with a business. There's never a right time to start you don't learn how to do a business by getting an MBA. You just go and you do it. So, this is the right time to do it. This is the time to do it. The wonky, bricky brick background has become a MIT's brand. I say embrace it. Ha 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 ha. I agree. So yeah, I mean that's ultimately my thing at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, if you believe in yourself, you believe in your ideas, you believe in your goals, and you believe in your vision, then you go take the risk and you go do it. And it's a fun journey. You guys got to remember, same thing with Palantir. This is a journey around life, right? Here's one thing I want to add some context for. This is a company that you buy, in my opinion, if you're into actually taking risks, right? This is one of those companies, it's like Tesla is a generational stock. Palantir is not there yet, but the sheer potential of it is why you buy it when you have, like, it's why you buy if you have money to buy stocks and you come across these types of stocks. And it's the same thing for me, a startup. If you have an idea and you really believe in that you have the ability to pursue it, then you go and you do it at the end of the day. So when it comes to something like Palantir, look, I just my conviction is so deep in terms of what these guys can do and how they're going to be able to execute. It reminds me of myself in terms of my own conviction in my startup, which is like why I'm like, I want to bet on things that I think really do have the potential to grow. And 5 years from now, I see them as being the industry leaders. Now, it's hard to say that when you see the stock price down 20% in a world in which they grew 31% quarter over quarter, but that's when you've got to understand the macro. And if you don't understand the macro, it's hard to just be an investor at this time. The macro is hurting a company that grew 81% in Tesla. Tesla should not be at this price, given what they were a couple of weeks ago. But the macro economy does not care. They absolutely does not care. Balls on the table. Apology to Everything Money. No, I'm not apologizing to Everything Money. Guys, Everything Money basically just says everything is overvalued. And did they make any money in the past 5 years? No. They missed out on Tesla and Amazon because they bought Alibaba. Like, I don't think it's about winning or losing. I think it's about just recognizing that stocks are down because no one saw this insane crash coming. And for the Everything Money guys, they said this thing. You can be like, oh, they saw the insane crash coming. Yeah, but they've seen it for the past 5 years. So it's like, did they really see it coming, or were they just finally, did the market just finally catch up to what they were saying? And that's pretty much it. I wish my parents would live forever, but living forever actually would become hell. Yeah, living forever is probably not the best option. Chuck, I am from Singapore. Shout out to you, Chuck, from being shout out to everyone who's watching from Singapore. Can you guys all comment where you're from? Like, comment in the chat which country you're from. I want to see where everyone is from. Amit, estimated time for recovery. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon is what my point. Which is why it's important to have a community, and it's important to be able to, be one with the community. That's how I interpret it. That's sort of my thoughts on it. Where are you guys from? Let's see in the chat. Meet Kevin was right. Well, Meet Kevin's down 1.5 million as well. So I don't know if Meet Kevin's right. Germany, England, Singapore, Bulgaria, Australia. Wow. Shout out to all the international viewers. This is awesome. Atlanta, Canada, Singapore, UK, Belarus. Yo, this is so awesome, guys. I know the stock is down right now, but do you guys see what's happening? You have people from all across the world who are together on this live stream because of this amazing technology that's YouTube. And all of us are being able to talk about what's going on right now. Like, come on, bro. That's awesome to me. Like, Ireland, New Jersey. Oh, we got New Jersey in the house. Taiwan, Sweden. This is so dope, bro. Like, I've never been to all these places, and we're kind of like virtually here together. From the U.S., living in South Korea, England, Spain, Sweden, currently in Atlanta. It's amazing stuff, man. I appreciate all of you guys being here. And I appreciate all of you guys watching the content and consuming the content. And we have a shared mission at the end of the day, which is investing in a company that we believe can be really big. The question is if it gets there. Also, one thing I want to talk about a little bit more philosophically is that, oh, here we go. I got to show you guys this. This is something that I think is going to be very important. Some of you will know this. Shout out to you if you know this. Put it in the chat if you know this. If you don't, let me know. But I think most of you, not most of you, but some of you may know this quote. Where is it? Here, hold on. Here we go. All right, here we go. I'm going to read this quote. I need everyone to read this. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, and maybe even your mind. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean diversion. It could mean mockery and isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds. And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. You will ride life straight to the perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. This is the quote, not to get super emotional or anything, but this is the quote that guides me through my startup journey, which is that, look, if you're going to do it, go all the way, because, why else would you do it if you're not going to go all the way? But it's also the thing to think about with Palantir. When you're investing in a company like Palantir, I think it's incredibly important to recognize that if you're going to invest in something, you've got to be convicted in your investment, and you've got to deal with the mockery and the isolation and all the stuff that comes from the outside world within your investment. Now, if you bought this stock, but you have no conviction, you just bought it to buy it, then all right, yeah, you're not gonna sleep well at night. But I don't think Alex Karp is losing sleep at night. I don't think I don't think these guys are losing sleep at night because I think they know what they bought, they know what they built, and at the end of the day, because they know what they know what they built, that's why they're not gonna keeping it. They're not gonna feel bad about it. Lex Friedman moment, yeah. This isn't going to save Palantir. I'm not saying this quote is going to save Palantir. I'm saying this quote is something you have to live by. This quote is something we got to do. We got to find the bright moments. I feel Putin used this quote. No, Putin did not use this quote. Just joined the stream. Guessing Palantir earnings got you down bad. Reciting quotes to salvage and more. Yeah. Chris, you're still streaming? Yes, Chris, I'm still streaming. I'm still streaming. It is what it is. It is what it is. And if isolation is a gift, hosting a YouTube channel is not the answer. LOL, we are a family. You are not alone here. Yeah, no. It's isolation in the context of more metaphorically, right? And it's not like you're literally alone. It's more so that like the rest of the world kind of says you're wrong and you kind of think you're right. That's the isolation. Now, granted, if all of us are here together as these Palantir bag holders, we are isolated together from the rest of the world. But, that's what it is. That's what it is. Let's see what's going on Twitter. By the way, my Twitter is @AmidIsInvesting. Let's see how people are talking on Twitter. Breathe. Yes. Boom. We're going to retweet that one by Sean. Breathe. It's important. Yo guys, I want to put this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and this is hilarious. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and put it on Twitter. I'm just going to post it like randomly. Let's see how people react to it. Like, why not? Live from Tom's house, filmed by Grandpa. Yeah. Okay. One thing I'm gonna say is, me and Tom are working on a video called "Day in the Life of a Palantir Shareholder." Bro, this video is gonna hit. This video is gonna be fun. This is going to be such a fun video. Day in the life of a Palantir, TEAR shareholder. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. You guys are definitely going to enjoy it. Amit, can you raise your volume just a little bit? I have AirPods, but I work in a loud environment. Okay, let me raise it 1 second. Shout out to you listening to me during your work, man. I appreciate that a lot. That means the world to me. Yeah, here we go. The volume should be a lot louder now. I believe so. Sean's bunkering down in the library. We're all joining now. Ha 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 ha. Bro will say all these damn quotes but won't buy the dip. All right, I'm not going to re-explain myself here. By the way, you guys know I bought the dip at $10.80. I literally bought the dip. I bought $1,200 like 5 days ago. Should have Breathe by Fabulous playing in the background. What should I tweet, guys? I'm going to open up Twitter. What do you guys want me to tweet? The tweet is going to be from my Palantir, from the people watching me right now. 315 people live talking Palantir earnings. I want to give a tweet from the 315 people collectively watching this. What could we say from all 315 of people to you, to my Twitter audience? What do you guys want to say? Let's say you had one sentence to say. Palantir Long says my wife doesn't even ask anymore. Let's see what else is going on this Palantir hashtag. This is our time and we intend to seize it. Alex Karp. That is true. Palantir, like this tweet if you bought the dip. All right, I can't like it yet. I haven't bought the dip. Palantir thesis unbent, unbroken. Shout out to Andrej. They are self-congratulating pricks, though. I don't mind, but institutions do. Yeah, they are very bullish on themselves, but institutions do not care. Palantir to the moon. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, let me like that tweet by Mr. Tom Nash. Palantir 740. I'll remember today. LOL. Set a reminder in 5 years. Let's check back in 2027, friends. That's all you can say. Set back in 2027. Check back in 5 years. That's it. That's it. Where's Doom Shalat? Yeah, that's facts. Where's Doom Shalat? We're not crying. I like that one. We're not crying. We're not crying. So that'd be the tweet, everybody. We're not crying. We need another DCF video with the investment banker now that the stock has fallen so much. There's no real change in the DCF. Remember, guys, Sebastian guided that if by 2030 we have 30%, 35% year-over-year growth, on average, with 36% adjusted operating margins, it will be $250, the stock price, with like 3% dilution. So, that's some of the core. That's the core point right there. Tweet, holding the bag is a lot lighter if we hold it together. Okay, do we want to do that one? There we go. All right, let's do that one. From the 315 people in my live stream right now about Palantir. Holding the bag is a lot lighter if we hold it together. What should be the hashtag? Well, I was trying to just play on words with carp. It's like a carpe diem, right? What does carpe diem mean? Carpe diem. It means seize the day, right? It means seize the day, right? Yeah. Okay. So carpe diem means seize the day. Boom. Carpe. Yo, I think that's genius. Carpe diem. Boom. Carp sees the day. The real ones will get it. The real ones. And didn't Alex Karp say we plan to seize this? Okay, so hold on. So Palantir, they put out this letter. Look, this letter is shareholders. This is our moment, and we plan to. I'm gonna do a video on this later. But look what he says at the bottom. Look what he says at the bottom. This is our time, and we intend to seize it. Boom. There we go. Alex Palantir. Alex Karp. This is our time, and we intend to seize it. Yo, Carpe Diem. I think I just came up with something, bro. Q1 earnings letter. Boom. I did like the bag is lighter if we all hold it. Carpe Diem. I think that's cool. Carpe Diem, huh? That's cool. Hashtag Palantir. You're the biggest DB on YouTube. What does DB mean? Is DB something mean? I feel like DB is something mean. Can we go to $3? I buy some. If we go to $3, I'll make an apology video to Everything Money. I'll just be like, all right, you guys said it was $3. All right, you guys are right. I have 1050 puts that are expiring this Friday, so it looks like I'll be a bag holder as well. Yeah, that's why I didn't buy options. Buying options right now is tough, man. Options, puts, calls. It's hard to play the market exactly right now. It's hard. We carped our pants. Yo, I think I should do that one. I carped my pants when I saw Palantir stock price today. There we go. Boom, baby. This letter to shareholders is interesting. I haven't read it. It's really long. This man wrote a fucking novel because like there's a saying in startups where if you give your investors an update and the investor update has more words than numbers, it means, shit isn't going that well for that month. But if you have numbers, you're like, all right, here's the growth, here's the percentage increase, blah, blah. Then investors are like, cool, they're growing. So for Karp to come out with his letter, I think he knew the quarter was good, but it wasn't great, which is why he had to put in all this fucking this stuff about, long-term success, blah, 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 blah. We see a path to double U.S. commercial revenue for the third year in a row, growing to $400 million this year. Last quarter, U.S. commercial growth through 136%, blah, 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 blah. Look, at the end of the day, this is our time and we intend to seize it. This is where it's kind of like me and my startup, right? When I'm selling investors this vision of what I'm doing, they have to believe in me to get it done. We're believing in Karp. When he says this is our time and we intend to seize it, you're betting on Karp. Palantir, by the way, is at 750 right now. So for me, when I'm raising money for my startup, I'm getting people to bet on me and my vision. And yes, the idea is good. There's a lot of potential there. Oh wow, I wasn't even showing you guys the screen that whole time. I'm sorry. But that's the idea, right? This is our time and we intend to seize it. You have to bet on me if you're investing in me. You have to bet on Karp if you're investing in Palantir. If Karp says, look, this is our time and we intend to seize it, I believe him. I have no choice but to believe him, but I'm also trying to get a gauge of when someone says this is our moment and I'm going to seize it, when I'm pitching investors for my startup, I'm saying I'm going to fucking do this because I believe I can do this and I know I have the ability to execute. I just need the capital to do it. It's kind of the same thing. And I trust I believe in what Karp is saying here. At the end of the day, that's it. Sachin is here. What's up, Sachin? Sachin, you said you were planning to double your position if it goes down to 8. Can you please give us an update on if that plan is still intact? And we would love to talk to you eventually, Sachin. I know you're busy, but we really would love to get your thoughts on this quarter if you would like to give them. Yeah, so Sachin said he was planning to do that. Haven't sold anything, guys. Yeah, we're going to see if he does that as well. Good one. Thank you, Owen. Thank you. Someone on YouTube suggested it. Let's see how else it's going in the Palantir revenue growth. Career McDonald's. Oh boy. There we go. McDonald's careers. Palantir at 7.5 trades at 23 times EV to free cash flow. 30% revenue, 30% free cash flow. Cheap enough. Yeah, I mean, Justin was talking about this today as well when we were talking about Palantir. Sachin says, yeah, it's intact. His plan to double his position on Palantir is likely going to happen. Wow. I think for Sachin, that's might be a couple $1 million more going into Palantir, or hundreds of thousands at least. So I know his average is around 16 from what I remember. Lower guidance is not positive. It could be due to resources used in Gotham and likely to be paid later in Q2. I agree. I think a lot of the Ukraine stuff is going to be coming a little bit later in the year. So Apollo for bag holders. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Also, time to review the thesis because either we are missing something or it's once in a lifetime investment opportunity. Yeah, I agree with Sachin. Either we are missing something or it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and ultimately we have to determine what that is. Lion in the chat saying is criticizing Palantir. Look, I'm not gonna ban Lion or anything like that because at the end of the day, when you kick on someone when their stock is down, knowing that they put a lot of money into the stock, it's easy to do that, right? It's very easy. It's just immature at the end of the day. It's easy to do that. And especially if you don't understand the fundamentals of the business or the growth potential. Like if you look at the stock and be like, oh, it's down from $45 from last year. It's like, all right, yeah, you can say that. And you could say that about anything. It's like someone saying that about Bitcoin, but has no idea what Bitcoin does, right? Like if you actually believe and understand the thesis of crypto, and it's a different sort of story at the end of the day. So let me explain to everyone right here that if you are a Palantir shareholder and you even make content about it or talk about it, everyone will say something bad about you today, and it's the thickening of the skin that gets you ready to be a real shareholder in a company. I mean, I feel it as a YouTuber just with public comments. I'm going to feel it when I have my startup and there's going to be, negativity that goes on in terms like you have to deal with it if you want to do anything meaningful in your life. And so you've got to deal with people saying random stuff for no reason or trying to kick you when you're down. And you have to be able to defend your arguments against opposition. And that's one of the beautiful things about debate and communication is if you can defend your argument against people that say something, then you can feel better because you know how to actually make your argument or explain your argument in a meaningful way. Sachin says, my biggest complaint is that GTM is not in line with their AWS claim, self-servicing platform, thin entry barriers, and open certification, not have any plan. Yeah, and I guess we'll see. How that ultimately pans out. I also think we got to give them time, man. Like, it's Q1 2022. We got to give them some time. We're measuring companies on a quarter-to-quarter basis. But if you have a 2, 3, 4, or 5-year horizon, you've got to give them a little bit more time to see how this happens. Looking like a fool in a present is a price I'm willing to pay. The long view has not changed. Yeah, it's the same thing about guys. Tesla at 170 in May 2019. I'm not saying Palantir is Tesla. I'm just saying when you look at stocks that exist, like look at the public markets and look at what potential exists for stocks. There's a bunch of stocks right here. You could buy Roku at 87. You could buy the index. You could buy Peloton. You could buy Coinbase. Look at the stocks that exist, and then look at the stocks that actually are going to be around 5 years from now, changing the world. What are those stocks going to be? Twitter, by the way, is at 48. Is it going to be the Amazons? Is it going to be Netflix? Is it going to be Apple? Apple had its time. I don't know how much it's going to grow. It's going to be Teladoc. You've got to pick those companies, and at the end of the day, I've made my bet. I've picked. And now it's time for you to pick. And if you've picked, then it's time to either buckle down on that conviction or move forward or sell because you've changed your conviction, or stay long, hold it, and keep going forward. That's it. That's all it is. That's me. I think that's the end of the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Tesla might go way lower. That might be happening. To be fair, something is bothering the company internally. Let's be objective about it. Even at 30% revenue growth, the stock is still cheap at this level. But we are at $7 range now, so going back to $25 is a big effort and unlikely to happen soon. I agree. It's going to take the macro fundamentally has to change in order for this to happen as well. Invest in companies you believe in. That's how I try to invest. That's your thesis. If CARP guided lower in this environment, there is no hope. Well, remember, they guided lower, but they also believe that there's significant upside. I think they're trying to... we know Palantir is sandbags almost for their entire history of a public company. And it's important to sandbag because if you guide high and you get just close, the market's not going to reward you. But if you say 470 and then you get 490, that's really good. And if they have a bunch of Ukraine contracts baked in that they're just not showing yet, that could be the sort of ace up their sleeve in terms of how they plan to beat earnings. So we're going to see that. We are ultimately going to see how that happens and where that goes further. But it's going to be hard to get back to 25 from down $7. If you start buying right now, you can decrease your average and see how you can get closer. But my number one thing is, this is my biggest thing I'm going to leave it with. Palantir is not a stock that's going to move to the upside anytime soon. I had a bunch of people comment over the weekend. They were messaging me like, hey, when do you see it recovering? I'm like, I don't see it recovering until the economy recovers. And like the economy is not recovering for the next 6 to 8 months. Inflation's got to go down. Interest rates have to get stabilized. Supply chains have to clear up. We have to be able to get more consumer confidence in terms of like a lot of things have to happen. And it's natural that the economy is going down after the massive bull run we've had. So if it takes another year or two in this situation, you buy and you hold. And then when the bull run happens, the bull run happens. But the companies that will benefit from the bull run are the Teslas of the world, the companies that are actually doing something monumental. That's it at the end of the day. So we spent years thinking what to do in these declines, so it's time to act ruthlessly instead of a cryberry. That's what Sachin says. Yeah, I absolutely agree. We spent years thinking what to do in these declines, so it's time to act ruthlessly. If you bought stocks in 2008, 2009, they're up. You know, if my parents had just bought the FANG stocks in 2010, they would have a lot of money right now, but they didn't know anything about stocks. I'm trying to change that generationally in my family. I know about stocks at a younger age. I'm trying to do something different, and I'm trying to pick the best ones that I believe in. So those are my overall thoughts, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. We had 300 people in the chat. Thank you for spending your market open with me. Really, really appreciate it. Overall, at the end of the day, I'm not selling. I'm probably going to be buying at least $1,000 worth of dip. We're going to see how it happens over time. Long-term horizon, if you are a Palantir shareholder, be ready to basically have the rest of the world shit on you. You have to deal with that. I'm dealing with that. Tom is dealing with it. Everyone's dealing with that. It's a question of, do you understand the thesis? Do you understand the fundamentals? Has the thesis changed? And are you ready to hold? And if that's the case, nothing has fundamentally changed, which means there's really not that much to talk about or to complain about. I will have a lot of videos coming out over the next couple of days, and definitely today, and dailypalantir.com. Everyone check that out. We'll have a lot of articles outlining my thoughts on stock-based compensation that went down 26%, U.S. commercial revenue growth that went up 54%, and then maybe some things that are not that great, like their guidance only going up 5%. So all of that stuff will be documented and talked about in the videos and articles. If anyone's interested in investing in the startup, email amit@dailypalantir. I can send you guys the pitch deck and you guys can look over it if anyone's interested. And yeah, that's it. That is Palantir reaction to the earnings. Thank you so much for being here. And a lot more content to come out. We will get through this together. I know it's cheesy, but we are family. This is a community that we've developed over the past 6-7 months. And this is a community that will either be crying in 5 years or be on a yacht in Vegas in 5 years. My bet is that we're going to be in that yacht in Vegas, and it's almost like a gang initiation, right? Sometimes you got to get beat up to get into the gang. You got to go through this to get to the bright side. You don't deserve to be on that yacht. You know, it's not nice. It doesn't feel great to own Tesla if you bought it in end of 2020 versus if you're buying it in 2017 or 2014 or 2012 when Elon people were like, this guy is absolutely insane. This is the time where you go through that pain and you eventually come out on the other side. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really, really appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next one tomorrow morning, Monday morning, 9:20 a.m. Bye. In 2017 or 2012 when Elon people were like, this guy is absolutely insane. This is the time where you go through that